You're holding a coin so ordinary, so common, so forgettable, that you've probably spent 1,000 just like it without a second thought. But one of them, one single 1987 D Lincoln penny, carries a secret so powerful it could turn an everyday collector into a millionaire overnight. This isn't a myth. This isn't a rumor. This is the kind of discovery that changes someone's life in a single heartbeat. Now picture this moment. You dump out a jar of old pennies, just cleaning out a drawer or checking for copper like you've done 100 times. And there it is, a coin that looks no different than the rest. But something about it feels off. Maybe it's the color. Maybe it's the strike. Maybe it's just your instinct whispering, "Look closer." You lift it toward the light, and suddenly the world around you stops. Because this penny, this tiny sliver of metal minted in Denver in 1987, could be worth $1.5 million. Let's rewind for a second, because the story behind this coin isn't just unusual, it's mysterious. In 1987, the U.S. Mint wasn't producing any special varieties, no commemoratives, nothing out of the ordinary. It was supposed to be a quiet, predictable year for penny production. But something went wrong, or maybe, depending on how you look at it, something went incredibly right. A small number of 1987 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchet. Not the zinc core with the copper coating like they were supposed to be, but on full copper planchets that should have stopped being used years earlier. Nobody knows how it happened. Was it a leftover copper blank accidentally mixed in with new materials? A tiny batch lost in the mint's machinery? A quiet, undocumented slip in production? Or maybe, just maybe, a rare moment where the mint's past collided with its future? Whatever the cause, only a handful escaped into circulation. And that handful is why collectors today are willing to pay unbelievable amounts, even pushing toward $1 million price tag, for the right one. Every couple of minutes, I want you to reset your focus, because this next part is what separates a lucky finder from someone who unknowingly spends a fortune at a gas station. The rare 1987 D penny you're hunting will not look like a shiny rarity. It won't glow. It won't sparkle. It won't announce itself. It hides in plain sight, disguised as a regular coin. First, the weight. A normal 1987 penny weighs 2.5 grams, but the rare copper version weighs 3.11 grams. That difference is tiny to your fingers, but not to a scale. If you don't have a scale at home, get one. Seriously, this coin is the reason every collector needs one. Next, the sound. Tap a zinc penny on a hard surface, then tap a copper penny. Zinc has a dull clack. Copper has a sharper ring. If you've handled enough pennies, you'll feel the difference before you even measure it. And then, look at the edges. Zinc-coated pennies sometimes show grayish wear on the rim where the copper plating thins out. A true copper planchet does not. Keep your focus here, because the most important detail is the mint mark. This rare treasure only exists with the D mint mark, struck in Denver, and the mint mark is clean, sharp, and fully formed. Not the weak or faint mark you see on worn-out examples. The valuable one has a bold, well-struck D. Now reset again. Because here's where things get even more dramatic. A few collectors over the years have reported finding odd-weight 1987 D pennies, but only a couple have been authenticated as being struck on leftover copper stock. And each time one surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the coin world. Why? Because coins like this aren't supposed to exist. They're like glitches in reality, mistakes that accidentally become miracles. Imagine someone finding one in a roll they bought for $1. One roll, 50 cents worth of pennies. And inside that roll sits $1 million slip of metal. This is the kind of story other collectors whisper about. The kind that keeps people searching through change late at night, shaking their heads, muttering, "What if? What if?" Emotions run deep with discoveries like these. They represent the dream. The idea that a single moment of curiosity, a single decision to look closer, can rewrite the entire direction of your life. And there's something deeply human about that. Something hopeful. Think about the person who finds the next one. Maybe it's a retired veteran in his garage. Maybe it's a dad sorting pennies with his kid. Maybe it's someone going through old jars left behind by family, memories mixed with dust and copper. Whoever finds it won't just be discovering a coin. They'll be holding a moment, a story, a miracle that traveled nearly 40 years to reach them. 1987 D mint mark. Weight, 3.11 grams. Richer copper-colored, No exposed zinc on the rim. A sharper ring when tapped. A strong strike with full details. If you find a coin matching those signs, you don't clean it. You don't touch it more than necessary. You don't show it around. You place it carefully in a holder, and you get it authenticated immediately. Because the difference between a normal penny and $1 million treasure comes down to precise measurement and professional certification. Life-changing discoveries don't always look like treasure. Sometimes they look like a penny. A coin so ordinary you could hold it 1,000 times without realizing what you're touching. But the moment you choose to pay attention, really pay attention, everything changes. Every collector dreams of finding that one unbelievable coin. But dreams don't come true for the people who stop looking. They come true for the ones who keep searching, keep checking, keep believing that the next handful of change might hold something extraordinary. And this coin, the 1987 D copper penny, is proof that anything can be hiding in the simplest places. Take a breath and reset your focus one last time. Because right now, somewhere in America, tucked into a cup holder, a coin jar, a dresser drawer, or a forgotten piggy bank, there could be another one. Maybe two. Maybe just one final survivor waiting for the right collector to rediscover it. Imagine opening an old jar of change, expecting nothing more than the usual pennies and nickels, and instead realizing one of them could be worth over $1 million. Not in a museum, not in a vault, in your home, right now. This is the story of a 1945 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny that most people overlook, but for a few lucky collectors, it has turned into a fortune that defies belief. Picture this. You're holding a penny that has survived world wars, survived generations, survived pockets, purses, kitchen drawers, dusty cans in garages, even the bottom of old coffee tins. A tiny copper coin older than many of us watching this. A coin that could carry a hidden flaw, a rare strike, or a unique condition so special that collectors have valued certain 1945 no-mint mark pennies at more than $1.6 million. It sounds impossible, but every legendary discovery begins with someone saying, "No way." And then it happens. Now imagine this. You're somewhere ordinary, maybe in your living room, maybe sorting coins with a cup of coffee, maybe trying to show your grandson how to spot old wheat pennies. And that's when you see it. A glimmer of color, a sharper edge, a richer detail. For a split second, you think your eyes are playing tricks on you. But they're not. What you're seeing is real. Because sometimes treasure doesn't need a map or a metal detector. Sometimes treasure is already in your hand. Let's reset here, because this next part is where the mystery truly begins. The year was 1945, the final year of World War II. Factories were stretched thin. Materials were rationed. The U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to produce billions of coins quickly, efficiently, and with machines that had been pushed to their limits. And during that chaos, a few coins, just a few, came out differently. Something happened to them. A slight die error, a faint doubling, a misalignment, an unintentional variation in strike pressure, or even a metallic impurity. These tiny differences didn't matter then. But today, one of those microscopic details can be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a life-changing $1 million. Here's where it gets emotional. Think about the people who handled this coin before you. The mother who used it to buy bread. The soldier who dropped it returning home from war. The teenager who slipped it into a piggy bank back in the 1950s. This penny has a story, a heartbeat, a journey, and the idea that your hands might be the final chapter in that journey. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching. Let's reset the suspense again, because now you need to know what to look for. The reason some 1945 no-mint mark wheat pennies skyrocket into the $1 million range comes down to three things: rarity of condition, die varieties, and exceptional preservation. Start with the basics. Flip the coin under a bright light. Look at the date, 1945, crisp, sharp, well-defined. The no-mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia, but that's expected. What's unexpected is when the lettering shows doubling, especially in the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." If you see even a hint of doubling, your heart should pound a little faster. Then check the wheat stalks on the reverse. Strong, clean, raised lines with visible ridges can place the coin in an extremely rare category. Most pennies from that era are worn smooth. But the ones that survived almost untouched? That's where the $1 million magic lies. Resetting again, because condition alone can launch this penny into the stratosphere. A flawless 1945 penny with perfect luster, minimal marks, and razor-sharp details becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find. Professional grading companies have rewarded such coins with levels so high they make collectors' jaws drop. And every time one does, the price skyrockets. When something is this rare, it becomes more than copper. It becomes a treasure. Now imagine discovering one of these coins yourself. Think about that moment. You tilt it under the light. You see the shine. You notice the detail. You compare it to ordinary pennies and feel your breath hitch. That is the moment collectors dream about their entire lives. A moment where an everyday object transforms into $1 million miracle. Some of these valuable 1945 pennies are believed to have been struck with dies that were never meant to be used. Maybe a leftover die from 1944. Maybe a misaligned hub. Maybe a die that had already shown early signs of wear but was pushed back into service during the wartime rush. These mysteries fuel speculation, and speculation fuels value. The story behind the penny becomes just as important as the penny itself, and here's something powerful. Every collector who ever found one of these rare coins said the same thing at first. There's no way this can be real. It's just a penny. But disbelief turns into shock, and shock turns into possibility, and possibility turns into truth. And that truth is worth more than money. It's proof that sometimes the world still holds surprises. Reset again, because I want this next part to hit you. The difference between a regular 1945 penny and $1 million one often comes down to a single overlooked detail. Maybe it's a perfect strike. Maybe it's flawless luster. Maybe it's a tiny doubling you barely noticed the first time. But if you just slow down, take a breath, and really look, you might see something no one else has noticed for nearly 80 years. Now let the inspiration sink in. Think about how many people throw pennies in jars without a thought. Think about how many people walk past treasure every single day without knowing it. But not you. You're a collector. You know better. You understand that history hides in the smallest places. You know that greatness doesn't need to be big. Sometimes greatness fits in the palm of your hand. And here we go with another reset, because there's one more truth you need to hear. Even if you don't find the $1 million version, the search itself is priceless. The excitement, the curiosity, the chase. These are the things that connect collectors from every generation. A shared adventure that never ends. But make no mistake, someone out there will find another one of these ultra-rare 1945 no-mint mark wheat pennies. Someone will open a drawer, or a jar, or a forgotten box, and they'll lift out a coin that changes everything. Picture yourself holding it. The weight of history. The shock. The realization that a coin you almost ignored is worth more than a car, more than a house, more than you ever thought a penny could be worth. More than $1 million. This isn't fantasy. It has happened. It will happen again. You're about to hear a story that could change the way you look at every penny in your pocket. Imagine holding a coin in your hand. A coin that could be worth over $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But today, we're uncovering the secret behind one of the rarest Lincoln pennies ever minted. The 2006 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. And if you think this is just another collectible story, think again. This is about a coin hiding in plain sight. A coin that could turn an ordinary life into something extraordinary. It all starts in 2006. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies that year, but only a tiny fraction were struck in a way that would make them nearly invisible to collectors for years. Most people walked past them every day, unaware of the treasure they held in their pocket change. And the twist? No one knew how rare they were, not even the experts. Here's where the mystery deepens. The 2006 D penny carries a unique minting anomaly, a subtle variation in its design that only the trained eye can detect. It's not flashy. It's not obvious. But for those who know what to look for, it's a golden ticket. Millions have passed it by, tossed into jars, wallets, or the pocket change of America. And somewhere, right now, someone could be holding it without knowing that they're sitting on a potential fortune. I remember the first time I saw one. I was at a small coin show, scanning a bin of pennies out of habit. One coin caught my eye. Nothing extraordinary at first glance, just a regular 2006 D penny. But there was something off about it. The details on Lincoln's bust were slightly different. The strike was sharper. The shine had an almost unnatural depth. My heart raced. I couldn't believe it. That coin turned out to be one of the rarest 2006 D pennies in existence. And at that moment, I realized just how close we all are to finding life-changing coins in the most ordinary places. Here's what makes the 2006 D Lincoln penny so valuable. The key is the mint mark. On a regular penny, the D is subtle, stamped near Lincoln's shoulder, almost as if it's whispering to you. But on the rare version, the D has a distinct doubling, a doubling so faint that it's invisible to most collectors. You need good lighting, a magnifying glass, and patience. Hold the coin under light at different angles. Notice the shadows near the D. Look for a faint echo of the letter, as if the coin itself is trying to reveal a secret. That echo could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even over $1 million. A single coin, almost indistinguishable from the thousands of pennies you've handled in your life, could hold a life-altering value. And it's not just about money. It's about discovery, about uncovering a hidden story that connects you to history in a way that few experiences can match. Every scratch, every shine, every subtle imperfection on that penny tells a story of a moment frozen in time. And for the collector who recognizes it, it could tell the story of fortune beyond imagination. But here's where it gets even more incredible. The rarity of this coin comes from a small batch produced at the Denver Mint. They were meant to be normal circulation pennies, but a technical error in the striking process created this ultra-rare variant. Most of them were spent, lost, or hidden in jars. Very few were preserved, and even fewer were recognized for what they truly were. That means the chance to find one today is slim. But for those who know what to look for, the opportunity is real. Picture yourself at home, emptying a pocket of change, expecting nothing more than a few coins for the vending machine. Among them, you see a 2060 penny. Most people toss it aside. But you pause. You notice something. The D looks slightly off. Your heart skips a beat. You grab your magnifying glass, and there it is, the faint doubling, the hallmark of a coin that could be worth over $1 million. That's the thrill, the suspense, the life-changing moment that this coin promises. Now, I want to make sure you can spot this coin yourself. First, check the mint mark. It's a small D, located just below the date. Look closely at the D for a doubled image. Next, inspect Lincoln's bust. Rare 2006 D pennies have a sharper strike, more defined features, a clarity that ordinary pennies don't have. Compare it to a regular penny if you need to. The difference is subtle, but once you know what to look for, it becomes unmistakable. Finally, the surface of the coin. Rare examples often retain a deep, almost mirror-like sheen, as if the coin has been preserved for decades without ever seeing circulation. These three factors together, mint mark doubling, striking details, and surface quality, are your clues to $1 million discovery. Every minute you wait, someone, somewhere, could be finding one of these pennies right now. That's the beauty and danger of rare coins. They're hiding in the most mundane places, waiting for the right person to recognize their worth. And when they do, lives change. Entire families suddenly find themselves catapulted into possibilities they never imagined. College funds, retirement plans, dream vacations, all because of a single, ordinary-looking penny that turned out to be extraordinary. That I've spoken to collectors who found these coins by accident, in jars of pennies, in drawers, even in couch cushions. And each story carries the same tension, the same disbelief, the same joy. A simple object, overlooked by almost everyone, became a ticket to unimaginable wealth. And the 2060 Lincoln penny is one of those objects. It's not just a coin. It's a key, a story, a mystery waiting to be solved by someone like you. So, when you next reach for your spare change, slow down. Look carefully at every penny. Pay attention to the date. Inspect the mint mark. Imagine the story behind it, the hidden potential that could be sitting unnoticed in your own home. This isn't a dream. This is reality for those who know how to see it. And the truth is, the right penny could appear at any moment, completely changing the course of your life. Remember, the 2006 D Lincoln penny isn't just about money, although over $1 million could be in your hands. It's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the incredible story that this small coin tells. It's about recognizing that the extraordinary can be hiding in the ordinary, and that sometimes fortune favors the patient and observant. You think you know the coins in your pocket. You think you know what's worth something, and what's just small change. But what if I told you there's a penny out there, hiding in plain sight, that could change your life forever? A single penny, worth over $1 million. Not exaggeration, not a story, a real, life-changing coin. And it might be sitting quietly among the pennies you toss into your jar. Back in 2009, the US Mint did something unusual. For reasons no one completely understands, a tiny number of Lincoln pennies were released without a mint mark. No D, no P, just a single, unassuming coin that looks just like every other penny you've ever seen, except it isn't. That small detail, the absence of a mint mark, has made these pennies almost impossible to find. And that's what makes them so valuable. Imagine walking into your living room and reaching into your change jar, thinking you're just grabbing a few cents. And there it is, a penny that could make you a millionaire. Your heart would stop. Your mind would race. You'd realize that for years, what seemed worthless could be more valuable than anything you ever imagined. 2009. Every year, millions of pennies are struck, but only a select few from that year were released without a mint mark. Most have a D for Denver or AP for Philadelphia. This one has nothing. Absolutely nothing. That tiny blank space, where a letter should be, is what separates a normal penny from $1 million treasure. Next, check the details. These pennies are copper-plated zinc. They shine with the familiar warmth of a Lincoln cent. But when you hold it under the light, look at Lincoln's bust. Sharp details, crisp features. Collectors have noticed that these unmarked pennies often have a certain clarity in the engraving that's hard to find in circulated coins. There are only a handful of these pennies known to exist. Not hundreds, not thousands, just a few dozen. That scarcity is what drives their value. One of these pennies recently sold for $1.8 million at auction. Think about that for a second. A single coin you might have overlooked could have made someone a millionaire overnight. And it's not just money. It's the thrill of discovery, the shock, the disbelief that something so small could hold such enormous power. Let's reset for a moment. Close your eyes and picture yourself at your kitchen table. A jar of change. You dump it out, sifting through dimes and nickels, when you spot it. That gleaming 2009 penny. No mint mark. Your pulse quickens. You know immediately this isn't ordinary. Every collector dreams of this moment. And now it could be you. If you want to make sure you're not missing it. Here's how to identify it like a pro. First, look at the date and the mint mark area. The space should be completely blank. No letter, no imprint, nothing. Then examine the coin's surface. Even minor scratches or discoloration can affect value, so handle it carefully. Keep it in a soft cloth or coin sleeve to preserve its condition. And finally, if you think you have it, get it certified. Professional grading can confirm authenticity and protect the value of this incredible find. Collectors across the country have spent decades searching for rare pennies, some traveling hundreds of miles, digging through boxes of change, and attending auctions, all chasing the same dream. And yet, the most remarkable discoveries often happen in the simplest moments, at home, in your own pocket change. That's the magic of this penny. It's not hidden in a vault or locked away in a museum. It's out there, waiting for someone with the patience, the eye, and the luck to spot it. Every moment you spend imagining this coin, someone else could be finding theirs. That sense of urgency, the thrill of possibility, it's addictive. And it's why collectors never stop searching. A 2009 no mint mark penny isn't just a coin. It's hope. It's a story. It's the chance to hold a piece of history in your hand. And, quite literally, $1 million opportunity. Let's pause and reflect. You might have seen thousands of pennies in your lifetime. But today, I want you to see them differently. Every penny is a potential treasure. Every jar of change could hide the unthinkable. And now, armed with the knowledge of what to look for, you're ready. You can be the one to spot it. Imagine the day you discover it. The excitement. The disbelief. Calling a friend or family member and showing them what you found. This isn't just about money. The $1.8 million certainly doesn't hurt. It's about proving that incredible fortune can hide in the smallest, most ordinary places. And when that penny is in your hand, you'll understand the thrill collectors feel, the same thrill that has driven people for decades to search for the extraordinary among the ordinary. 2009, no mint mark, sharp detail on Lincoln's bust. Handle it carefully. Verify it with a professional grader. And don't underestimate the power of patience and observation. Every moment you spend thinking it's impossible is a moment someone else could be finding theirs. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, but few are as astonishing as the 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that proves life-changing treasures can be found in the unlikeliest of places. A coin that reminds us to never underestimate the ordinary. And a coin that has turned everyday collectors into millionaires overnight. Look through your change jars. Examine those stacks of pennies. Because somewhere among them, that 2009 penny without a mint mark might be sitting quietly, waiting for its next owner. The excitement, the mystery, the possibility, it's all real. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, ordinary, worn, completely unremarkable. You pass it over your fingers, thinking it's just another penny, another piece of forgotten change. But what if I told you that this same coin could be worth over $1 million? Yes, $1 million, hidden in plain sight, maybe even in your pocket right now. The story of this penny begins in 1994, a year that seems ordinary, almost forgettable. But for coin collectors, it holds a secret that could change someone's life forever. This isn't just any Lincoln penny. This is a rare, no mint mark 1994 penny, a coin that slipped through the cracks of history, quietly waiting for someone to notice its true value. You might be wondering how something so small, so common-looking, could be worth $1 million. It all comes down to rarity. In 1994, the U.S. Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies, but a tiny fraction of them were made without the mint mark that identifies where the coin was produced. No mint mark at all. These coins were anomalies, mistakes that collectors crave, and mistakes that can be worth extraordinary amounts. Here's where it gets really interesting. These pennies were produced during the transition period at the Denver Mint, and some coins somehow slipped out without the D mark. Imagine that. Millions of pennies produced, and only a handful with this specific imperfection survived the decades. That's why collectors are willing to pay insane amounts of money for just one. Now, don't panic. You don't need to be a professional to spot one of these $1 million pennies. Start with the obvious. Look at the obverse, the front of the coin. You should see Abraham Lincoln's profile, but pay close attention to the area under the date. Normally, you'd see a tiny D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, but on this coin, there's nothing. Completely blank. That empty space is your first clue that you could be holding something extraordinary. The sharpness of the features, clarity of Lincoln's hair, the crispness of the lettering. A penny that's clean, without heavy scratches or wear, could be exponentially more valuable. Even subtle differences, like a slight doubling of the numbers or unusual coloring, can turn an ordinary coin into a millionaire's treasure. Imagine the moment someone realizes they've had this coin for years. One simple glance, one tiny detail missed for decades, and suddenly their life changes. That excitement, that disbelief, that surge of hope, it's exactly what collectors live for. People have found these pennies tucked in drawers, stuck in old jars, or even hiding in coin rolls at the bank. Every day, someone is discovering a fortune in a place they never expected. And here's the thing, the value is real. Millions of dollars have changed hands for coins just like this. One single 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $1 million, enough to buy a house, pay off debt, or live out a lifelong dream. It's staggering to think that such a small piece of metal could hold so much power. But the story isn't just about money. It's about connection. Every coin carries a piece of history, a tiny fragment of the year it was struck. Holding a rare penny is like holding a whisper from the past. You can almost feel the hands that pressed it, the transactions it passed through, the decades it survived quietly in pockets and purses, waiting to be recognized. Now, here's the most important part: how to find it yourself. Start with your old coin jars, your loose change, your childhood collections. Be methodical. Lay out the pennies, check the dates, and pay attention to the mint marks. The magic date is 1994, and the magic feature is the missing mint mark. Remember, it's the smallest details that hold the biggest rewards. And don't stop at just spotting one. Learn to examine the edges, the surface, the texture. This coin has survived 30 years of handling, circulation, and neglect. Coins that are too worn might be interesting, but they rarely fetch the $1 million prices. Condition is everything. A sharp, clear, No mint mark 1994 penny is a ticket to a fortune that most people don't even know exists. Could this little piece of copper and zinc be hiding a life-changing secret? You'll feel a thrill, a mix of hope and disbelief. It's addictive. Once you know this secret, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Every coin becomes a potential treasure, a chance at something unimaginable. Millions of dollars are literally sitting in the hands of people who never realized it. Someone's spare change could be someone else's fortune. The truth is, history and luck sometimes collide in the smallest, most ordinary objects. You never know when a life-changing discovery is waiting just around the corner or in a dusty drawer at home.so. Take your time. Examine each penny carefully. Compare it to known examples. Trust your eyes, and if something looks unusual, investigate further. Collectors are meticulous because the reward is enormous. Finding a 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just finding a coin. It's uncovering a story, a secret, and a fortune. And when you finally do find it, imagine the joy, the shock, the disbelief. Imagine holding a coin that could literally transform your life overnight. That small piece of metal becomes a symbol of possibility, a reminder that the extraordinary is often hiding where we least expect it. Imagine holding something so ordinary, yet so extraordinary, that it could change your life forever. A single coin, no bigger than your thumb, hiding in plain sight, worth over $1 million. Most people walk past it every day, not even knowing its potential. Today, I'm about to reveal the secret of one of the rarest coins in American history. The 1941 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It all starts in the midst of a time when America was on the edge of history. 1941 wasn't just another year. It was the year everything changed. The world was at war, families were worried, and yet in quiet, unsuspecting pockets, pennies were being minted. Ordinary pennies, meant for ordinary purchases, but among them, a few were different. A tiny difference that today could be the difference between a life of comfort and a life-changing fortune. A man in the 1940s buying a loaf of bread, paying with coins from his pocket. He drops a penny on the counter. Unbeknownst to him, it carries a secret that decades later could make someone a millionaire. These coins, struck without a mint mark, are extraordinarily rare because very few were saved in pristine condition. Most were spent, lost, or worn away with time. But a few survived, hidden in jars, drawers, and forgotten collections, waiting for someone with an eye for history to recognize their true value. 1941. Not 1941. D. Not 1941. S. Just 1941. Look at the back, the wheat ears stretching along the edges. These coins have no mint mark above the date. That tiny omission might seem insignificant, but in the world of coin collecting, it is monumental. It's a silent signal that you are holding a coin that has survived over 80 years of history untouched. Notice the details on Lincoln's bust. A sharp, well-defined profile, clear lettering on both sides, and that deep, rich copper tone that only comes from pennies preserved in the right environment. That's your first clue that you might be holding a coin with life-altering value. Experts call this condition mint state, and in this coin, mint state is worth every bit of attention. The slightest wear, the faintest scratch, can shave hundreds of thousands of dollars off its potential. So when you find one, every detail matters. You might be wondering, how could something so small and so common-looking be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in rarity, preservation, and demand. Collectors are always searching for coins that tell a story, coins that are a piece of history in their hands. The 1941 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those stories. Only a few exist in near-perfect condition. People have spent decades hunting for them, sometimes traveling thousands of miles, sifting through collections, jars, even the change in their pockets. And the reward? One single coin can sell for over $1 million. Imagine finding this penny in a drawer at home or tucked in a box in the attic and realizing it could change everything. That excitement, that surge of disbelief, that is what collectors live for. And the truth is, this coin could be hiding in your home right now, waiting for you to recognize it. Check the date, check the mint mark, and check the details. The letters on the obverse should be sharp, with no signs of polishing or heavy wear. The reverse wheat ears should be well-defined, with every line clear and unbroken. The color is important too. A deep, original copper, not artificially altered. Hold it in your hand and feel the weight. Authentic coins from this year have a specific heft, a specific sound when tapped lightly against a surface. These are subtle signs, but together they form a picture that tells you this coin is special. Now, let's pause and think about the story behind each coin. Each one survived decades of ordinary life. They were saved, forgotten, rediscovered. Every scratch, every blemish tells a story of survival. And today, that story translates to value. Not just any value, but life-changing value. Millions of dollars worth of history, art, and fortune captured in one small copper disc. Collectors often tell stories of finding these coins in the most unexpected places. One man found a 1941 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny tucked between the pages of an old book. Another discovered it in a box of coins passed down from his grandfather. It wasn't shiny or flashy. It didn't scream $1 million. And yet, when authenticated and graded, it became a treasure beyond imagination. That's the power of knowledge, knowing what to look for and knowing its worth. And the excitement doesn't stop there. Every time you examine a coin, you're connecting with history. You're holding a piece of 1941, a piece of a story that survived through generations. That emotional connection is priceless, but the financial reward can be staggering. When a coin like this sells, it sells for more than just its metal value. It sells for its rarity, its story, and its promise. Over $1 million for a coin no bigger than your finger. Begin with what you already have. Dig through your old jars of coins. Look through drawers, boxes, and old collections. Examine every penny carefully. It takes patience, it takes knowledge, but the payoff can be unimaginable. Each penny holds the possibility of unlocking a story, a fortune, and a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. It's about history, it's about legacy, it's about connecting with something bigger than yourself. Every scratch, every mark on the coin, every detail preserved is a testament to time. And when you find that perfect 1941 no-mint mark penny, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a $1 million story. But in this case, ordinary is deceiving. Ordinary hides extraordinary. And that's the thrill of coin collecting. The chance that your life could change with a single, unexpected discovery. Over $1 million in your hands. All from something that seems so simple, so everyday. So look carefully, pay attention to the details, and trust your instincts. That glint in the drawer, that forgotten penny in the pocket, could be exactly what you've been searching for. The history, the rarity, the sheer drama of it, it all adds up to a coin that could make your life completely different tomorrow. And finally, imagine the moment of discovery. The shock, the disbelief, the excitement coursing through you as you realize the truth. This coin you've been holding, examining, wondering about, is worth a fortune. Over $1 million. Your heart races, your hands shake, and in that instant, you understand why collectors chase these coins their entire lives.